On our wedding night, my mother-in-law burst into our honeymoon suite. Her face flushed with fury. "You two need to sleep in separate rooms," she screamed. My husband, Alex, just chuckled and responded, "Actually, I have a better idea." Her expression shifted to one of shock as he handed her a thick envelope. I was still in my wedding dress, lace trailing behind me on the soft carpet of our suite, when the door flew open with such force that the paintings on the walls shook. My mother-in-law, furious, stormed in like she had every right to be there. "You need to sleep in separate rooms," she shouted, her face flushed and eyes wide with anger. For a moment, I thought she was joking and laughed. After all, it was our wedding night. But then I saw her posture, her grip on the door frame tight, as if she was about to physically drag me away from her son. That's when I realized this was serious. Alex, on the other hand, barely reacted. It was as if he had been waiting for this moment. With a calm demeanor, he said, "Actually, I have a better idea." To my surprise, he pulled a thick envelope from his suit pocket and handed it to her. Her face instantly fell. She grabbed it, tore it open, and as she read the contents, her body went stiff. But to understand what was happening, I need to give you some background. Alex and I had been together for 4 years before getting married. I knew his mom, Helen, had a tendency to meddle in our lives. She'd show up uninvited, impose herself into our plans, and somehow make everything about her. If we went on a trip, she'd cry about being excluded. If Alex gave me a gift, she'd complain that he didn't spend as much time thinking about hers. Still, I never imagined she'd go this far. During wedding planning, things only got worse. She hated everything I chose, the venue, my dress, the food. She even tried to change my bouquet behind my back, calling the florist and requesting flowers of her choice. But Alex had my back. Time and time again, he told her, "Mom, this is our wedding, not yours." She'd back off for a while, but I knew she was just biding her time. Then came the wedding day. Just before I walked down the aisle, one of my bridesmaids ran up to me looking panicked. "Your dress! Something's wrong with it." I looked down, and my heart sank. The hem of my wedding dress was covered in dark stains. No one had spilled anything near me. Later, I learned from my maid of honor that Helen had been in the room alone with my dress for about 10 minutes before I put it on, but that was just the beginning. During the ceremony, she sighed loudly every time Alex and I exchanged vows. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, she stood up and said, "I just think they should take some time to really think about this, as if we hadn't been together for years." Alex quickly shut it down, ordering, "Sit down, Mom." But not before she glared at me like I had personally wronged her. The reception wasn't any better. She found a way to steal the spotlight at every turn. She grabbed the mic during speeches, giving an impromptu toast about herself. She loudly complained about the music. At one point, she even sat in the middle of the dance floor barefoot, refusing to move because she was tired and the music was too loud. It was exhausting, but I thought, at least we were married, at least it was over. I was wrong. Cut to our honeymoon suite. Alex and I had just arrived, still on a wedding high. The hotel had sent up champagne, and we were finally alone until the door burst open. There she was, trying to break us up on our wedding night. That's when Alex pulled out the envelope. As Helen read the papers, her expression shifted from rage to sheer panic, because inside were legal documents. That's when everything started to unravel. Her hands trembled as she read, and for the first time that night, she fell silent. I had no idea what was in that envelope, but I knew it was important. Helen's mouth opened, then closed. She looked at Alex with a mix of anger and desperation. "You wouldn't," she started, but Alex leaned back against the dresser, his arms crossed. "I already did. Here's what happened." About a month before the wedding, Helen had pulled one last stunt. She called Alex's boss and told him that Alex was thinking of quitting. She even claimed he was emotionally unstable and needed a break. She lied to sabotage his career, thinking that if he lost his job, he'd be forced to move back home with her, but it backfired. Alex's boss called him directly, confused, and Alex immediately realized it was Helen's doing. That was the last straw. He cut contact with her without warning. She must have realized how far she had gone, because the next week she called me crying and begging me to convince him to talk to her. I refused, and she retaliated, sabotaging the wedding, ruining my dress, and publicly humiliating me. Then she broke into our honeymoon suite to try to control us like we were children. But Alex had been prepared. Back to the hotel room, Helen was holding the papers as if they were burning her. "This is insane," she muttered. I stepped closer. My curiosity piqued, a restraining order. I blinked in disbelief. "Wait, you're serious?" she sputtered. "I'm your mother." Alex's voice was calm and unwavering. "And you've done nothing but try to control me, sabotage my relationship, and ruin my life for years. You ignored every boundary I set, so now the law will do it for me." She turned to me. "You did this?" I raised my eyebrows. "Nope. This was all Alex." Apparently, after the work incident, Alex had seen a lawyer. He had gathered all the evidence, texts, emails, unwanted visits, and the dress sabotage. That was just the final straw. The judge had signed the emergency order the day before our wedding. Helen just didn't know it yet. I sat up, a cold sense of dread creeping up my spine. No, this couldn't be happening. Alex swiftly rolled out of bed, threw on a shirt, and opened the door to be met by hotel security. 2 guards stood outside along with the hotel manager, looking anything but pleased. "Sir, we need to speak with you and your wife," the manager said sternly. I threw on a robe, my heart pounding as I rushed to the door. "What's going on?" The manager's gaze flicked between the two of us. "I need to ask, did you threaten your mother last night?" I almost burst out laughing. "What?" The guard's face remained serious. "Your mother called the front desk at 3:00 a.m., claiming she feared for her life. She said she fled your room after you became aggressive." Alex's jaw clenched. "You've got to be kidding me. She claimed you were holding her against her will in your honeymoon suite." My stomach plummeted. That's when I noticed one of the guards holding a set of room keys. If we hadn't opened the door, they would have entered our room. She said she left some of her belongings inside. The manager continued. She insisted she needed a way to get back in. Might get twisted. Helen had actually tried to get security to open our room and frame Alex. Alex ran a hand over his face. "Let me guess, she's not here anymore." The manager hesitated. "She checked out early this morning." "Of course she did. After causing all this trouble, she runs away," Alex muttered, shaking his head in disbelief. Alex took a deep breath. "Did she provide any proof?" The manager looked uncomfortable. She was very upset. She had scratches on her arms. I jumped in quickly. "She did that to herself." "Or maybe she tripped," Alex added. "But I never laid a hand on her." The manager raised his hands in a placating gesture. "I'm not accusing anyone, but we have to take these claims seriously." Alex pulled out his phone. "I have a restraining order against her, signed yesterday. Want to see it?" The manager's face shifted instantly. His demeanor changed from concern to shock. Helen's next move. We left the hotel that afternoon, but when we landed back home, our phones exploded with missed calls, texts, and one voicemail from a police officer. "Mr. and Mrs. Carter, this is Officer Martinez from the City Police Department. We've received a complaint from Helen Carter alleging domestic abuse at the hotel last night. We need you to come in for a statement." I almost dropped my phone. Helen had gone so far as to call the police with false accusations. The next few hours were a blur of frantic phone calls, scrambling to gather evidence and contacting Alex's lawyer, who had been preparing for a situation like this for months because of Helen's behavior. The hotel security footage told the whole story. It showed Helen entering our room uninvited and leaving without any signs of distress. No rushing, no crying, no fear for her safety. Plus, the restraining order made it clear she had already been legally told to stay away from us. When we finally went to the police station, Alex's lawyer laid everything out. The officer was professional, but it was obvious he knew Helen was lying. She had no evidence, just drama and accusations. In the end, no charges were filed, but they did create a report, and that report would eventually come back to haunt her. The final blow came when we went no contact with Helen completely. We blocked her, changed the locks, and told our families the truth. But Helen wasn't done yet. She had one last trick up her sleeve. A month later, Alex got a call from his bank. "Mr. Carter, we flagged a transaction attempt on your joint savings account." Alex's face went pale. We didn't have a joint savings account. But guess who did? Helen. It turned out that years ago, when Alex first got a job in college, his mom helped him open his first bank account, but somehow she had never removed her name from it. Now, she was trying to withdraw $1,000 from what she thought was our honeymoon fund. Alex had forgotten all about the account. He never used it. But Helen had been waiting for the moment when she could steal from us, and this time she left behind undeniable evidence. Alex was done. This was the final straw. Helen had crossed a line, and now she was exposed. The bank flagged the transaction as fraud, and because of the false police report, it was linked to a larger pattern of deceit. But the best part, Helen had signed the withdrawal slip in person. So when the bank alerted the authorities, there was no doubt she had tried to steal from Alex. And this time, she couldn't play the victim. Her life unraveled in a matter of weeks. Helen went from playing the heartbroken, abandoned mother to being fully exposed as a liar and a fraud. Her bank accounts were frozen, her reputation destroyed. The family that had once defended her turned their backs. Even her friends abandoned her when they realized how far she had gone. Then came the final blow, the legal consequences. When Alex's lawyer suggested we dig deeper, we did. And what we found was shocking. Helen had been hiding a long list of skeletons, unpaid debts, credit card fraud. She'd opened a card in Alex's name when he was in college, and government benefits fraud. She'd been falsely claiming financial hardship while secretly taking money from family members. The fraud investigation brought everything to light, and Helen ended up owing tens of thousands in fines and penalties. The cherry on top, the day we found out she had lost her house, Alex and I actually celebrated, not out of cruelty, but because for years she had manipulated, controlled, and hurt everyone around her. Now, she had no one left to manipulate. Final revenge. A year later, we were sitting in our beautiful new home, far removed from Helen's chaos, when we received a letter from her. She had nothing left, no home, no friends, no money. She begged Alex for forgiveness, saying she had learned her lesson and just wanted to be part of our lives again. Alex read the letter, then tossed it in the trash without a word. I smiled. We had won, not through confrontation or shouting, but by letting Helen destroy herself. And the best part, Alex and I used the honeymoon fund, the one Helen tried to steal, and booked the most luxurious trip of our lives. This time, Helen was nowhere in sight. Thanks for watching. See you next time, and stay stunned. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to subscribe to Justice Drama Stories. Here, Every story reveals betrayal, revenge, and the moment justice finally strikes. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next shocking story, because karma always has the final word.